Good day everyone! In this video, I will introduce you to a new tool that you can use in doing the learning modules. In your math, chemistry, and physics courses, you are either using your calculator or doing the calculations in your mind. In this course, you are allowed to use a spreadsheet. So what is a spreadsheet? A spreadsheet, according to Merriam-Webster, is a computer program that allows the entry, calculation, and storage of data in columns and rows. Statistical analysis usually involve a lot of data. For this reason, a spreadsheet is the best tool in analyzing data. Of course, there are advanced computer programs that are developed for statistical analysis. However, in this course, we will be using a spreadsheet which is capable of performing basic statistical analysis. Here are the two popular spreadsheet softwares, Google Sheet and Microsoft Excel. This video will focus on Microsoft Excel, the most widely used spreadsheet software. I will be showing you some features of Excel that you need to learn if you are planning to use them in answering the assessment tools. To make this video short, I will only focus on the features that can be used in this course. If you want to know more about all other features of Excel, there are a lot of tutorial videos online. Let's start. The first thing you must do is to of course install MS Office. MS Office is a family of software developed by Microsoft. You can get a free MS Office 365 from UP by following the instructions in this link. Here is a shortened version of this link. After installing MS Office 365, you may now open MS Excel through the Start menu. Excel will then ask you what to do next. Open a new workbook or open a previously saved workbook. Let us open a new workbook. This is how Excel looks. On the top of the workbook are tabs. We have the Home tab, Insert tab, Draw tab, Page Layout, and so on. Each tab contains a ribbon with buttons to perform commands. These buttons are grouped according to their functionality. We will cover the function of some of the buttons in this tutorial. The large portion of Excel is the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet is made up of columns and rows. Each column is labeled by a letter and each row by a number. The intersection of a row and column is a cell. A cell is labeled based on the column letter and row number. For example, the intersection of column C and row 4 is the cell C4. The label can be seen on the upper left corner of the workbook. Each workbook may contain several sheets. Sheets may be considered as the pages of the workbook and can be accessed at the bottom portion of the workbook. You can add additional sheets by simply clicking the plus sign. You may also rename, move, copy, or delete a sheet by using the right click. Each cell in the spreadsheet can be likened to a calculator, and each cell can use the other cells to perform calculations, or it can be interpreted as a calculator using other calculators to calculate. For this reason, spreadsheet, like Excel, simplifies analysis of big data. To demonstrate this, let's try to do a simple analysis on the COVID-19 new cases and recoveries in the previous week. Here is the data recorded in Microsoft Word. Let us first transfer this data to Excel. To do this, you may copy the data using the copy command and paste it in Excel. You may also use the shortcut keys Ctrl-C to copy and Ctrl-V to paste. Since this data does not look pleasing to the eyes, let's do some basic formatting. We can drag the columns to increase the width of the cells. Double-clicking the columns autofills the data to the column width. Through the Home tab, I can merge these cells. I can edit the fonts. center the text, and change the font colors. We do not usually require you to beautify your workbook through formatting. Just make sure that your workbooks are readable. However, if you want to make your workbooks more pleasing, you may explore the other formatting options on your own. Let's now perform some basic operations. If you want to get the sum of new cases in the previous week, I can simply write equals. The equal sign tells Excel that I'm doing a calculation. Then I will write the name of the cell containing the data. You may either type the cell name such as B6, B7, or use the left mouse click to select the cells or the arrow keys. Then, just click enter to show the output of the calculation. As you notice, using basic operations in Excel is still tedious. The good thing is, spreadsheet software have what we call functions. Functions are simplified set of calculations that will be applied to the cells. For example, we can get the sum of the data using the sum function. We just have to type equals, sum, open parenthesis, then we select the cells we want to add. A collection of cells is what we call array. An array is labeled as the first cell, colon, and the last cell. Here, the label states that the array is from B6 through B12. Then we type a close parenthesis, then enter. As you can see, we're able to perform the calculation much faster than before. We can also calculate other parameters. We can calculate the average using the average function, the maximum using the max function, the minimum using the min function, aside from these basic functions, there are also statistical functions such as standard deviation, skewness, kurtosis, and others. Some of the basic functions you can use are listed in the PDF file bundled with this video. If we want to use the same functions in the next column of recoveries, we can perform what we call autofill. This is done by highlighting the cells containing the functions and pointing the mouse to the lower right corner of the highlighted cell. You will notice that the mouse pointer will transform to a black cross. Dragging it to the adjacent cell will perform the same calculations in these cells. You may also use the copy-paste command for this purpose. Just copy the cells, then paste. If you use the shortcut key to paste, the formula and formatting from the source cells will be copied by default. If you use the right click, you will have additional options. The two most important options for paste is the paste formula and paste values only. You use paste formula if you want to perform the same calculations to another area of the spreadsheet. You use paste value if you want to paste the values obtained in the copied cells. If you check the cells in this column, you'll notice that the reference cells moved when we used the autofill feature. In these cells, the reference cells are in column B. When we copied the functions to column C, the reference cells also moved to column C. This is how reference cells work by default. If you copy or drag the formula, the reference cells also move depending on the number of rows and columns you moved away from the original cell. Let's say we copy these cells here. You'll notice that the reference cells also move towards this direction. If you want to move the reference cells, you just have to click the cell containing the formula. You will notice that the reference cells are enclosed in a box. These reference cells may be moved or resized. If we want to use the same data we used earlier, we just have to move this box. If we want to get the average of the data from the first 3 days, we can resize the reference cells to cover the first 3 days. If you don't want the reference cells to move, you may use the dollar sign. The dollar sign can lock the row, column, or both. If you add a dollar sign before the column letter, this tells Excel to lock the column. If you add a dollar sign before the row number, this tells Excel to lock the row. Let's try. I will add dollar sign before the letters. If I copy and paste this cell to the next column, you will notice that the reference cell did not move. However, if I copy the formula to a cell 1 row downward, the reference cell also moved 1 row downward. This is because we did not lock the reference rows. If we redo everything and add dollar sign before the row numbers, you will see that the reference cells no longer move. The shortcut key for locking the rows and columns is F4. Every time you press F4, the row, column, or both will be locked. Try exploring on how this feature works. Locking and rows and columns is necessary in analyzing data in Excel. There are also other statistical functions in Excel. One of the statistical formula you will encounter is the binomial distribution. To calculate for the binomial distribution, you may type binom. Suggested functions will appear and you'll notice that the description of these functions is shown if you point the mouse to the functions. Let's click binom.dist and you will be asked to enter some arguments. These arguments are the variables needed in the calculation. You just have to select which cell contains these variables, then click enter to do the calculation. If you click a cell containing a function, a pop-up will appear at the bottom. If you click the function in this pop-up, a help window will appear showing more detailed description of the function. You may use this in case you are not sure how the function works, or what are the arguments needed by the function. You will learn more about other statistical concepts later in this course. Another way to access the functions is through the Formulas tab. In the ribbon, you will see a group called Functions Library. Clicking the functions in the ribbon will give you the same results when you type the functions in the cells. However, other functions open a new window. Let's check the binomial distribution by clicking More and Statistical Tools. If you click binomial distribution, a window will open asking you for variables. You just have to highlight the cells containing the wanted variables. Do this for the rest and the function will give you the binomial distribution. This is the same calculation with what we shown earlier, but with a different interface. In analyzing the data, you most likely need charts to easily understand the behavior of the data. You use the Insert tab for this purpose. Under the Insert tab is Chart Group. In this course, charts such as histograms, box and whisker plots, and scatter plots are necessary. If, for example, we want to check the behavior of recoveries per day, we can use the scatter plot. We highlight the data, click Insert Chart, and select the desired chart. Then a chart will appear. Take note that you have to ensure that Excel have plotted your data correctly. For scatter plots, Excel treats the first column as the x-axis and the second column as the y-axis. If you want to check if your data is plotted correctly, you may right-click the plot and click Select Data. This will show you the data series plotted. Click the data series, then check if x and y axes are correct. Same with functions, the reference cells may also be moved by dragging them. So, if I want to plot the new cases versus date, I just have to drag y-axis to the new cases. For the charts to be easily interpreted, you may add elements using the Chart Design tab. You can add the x-axis title and the y-axis title. Using this tab, you can also change the color of the charts, add data labels, change the design, and others. This tab also has a quick layout feature which allows you to select predefined layout that includes necessary elements in a chart. Try exploring this on your own. An advanced feature of Excel is the Data Analysis Toolpack. This feature is hidden by default. If you want to use it, you may access it by clicking File, then go to Options, then Add-ins. In the drop-down menu, look for Excel Add-ins. A window will open. Check the Analysis Toolpack if it is unchecked, and click OK. After adding the toolpack, a new button will be added in the Data tab. This is the Data Analysis. You may click it and a window will open. The window contains a lot of statistical functions not covered in the default formulas, such as descriptive stat, hypothesis testing, ANOVA, and regression. You may use this in answering some of the modules. This ends our introduction to Excel. I hope you learned something new from this video.